Hey guys, it's Dan here with Straight Up Tech, and today I've got a video about this H7 Cryorig cooler that I picked up off of Newegg the other day. So what we're going to do today is get this thing installed and then walk in through doing some benchmarking and letting you guys see how well this keeps my i7 6800K cool. So more coming up. Alright guys, so I've got this H7 Cryorig cooler, and let's go ahead and get this thing opened up and get it on out of the box and see what it looks like. Alright guys, here, so as you can see, this is the Cryorig H7 Quad Lumi, edition. So this has the RGB lighting in the fan and should look pretty cool. So if we turn it around to the back here, you can quickly see some specs if you want to pause and see those for yourself. But awesome part is this hooks right in through a USB header into working with the Cam software. So much like the NZXTs that well, Cam is produced by NZXT, but much like NZXT, this plugs in the same way to a USB header, and then you're allowed to control your fan colors right through there, as well as your fan speeds and everything else, which makes it very, very handy in that case. So let's go ahead and get right on into the box. So this is a new kind of newer style, and I've already kind of taken this out of the box just a bit, so you can see that I've cheated a bit here. But you've got your brackets and screws and stuff for everything, and so we'll take this on out, and here we go. So on in here is just a couple brackets, all of that kind of stuff you need, plus a warranty card in there so you can warranty this as well. Okay, so here you can see this is a 120 millimeter fan, and the fan lights up. It's got RGB colors in it. We plug into the fan header on the motherboard for the CPU, and then you can plug this into a USB 2.0 port on your motherboard as well. And the fan just clips on. You've got your 4 copper heat pipes, and then on the bottom side here, I don't know if you can see that real well, but there is some RGB lighting there as well. So somewhat of a smaller heat plate there, but should work quite well. Cryorig's known for doing very good you know, CPU coolers, especially on the air-cooled side. So great, and again, go check that out on newegg.com. I'll leave a link to this in the description down below, so you can go check this out for yourself. All right, so next, let's go ahead and get on into the install, and I'm gonna do some benchmarking and testing here in a few. Alright guys, here, so moment of truth. I'm gonna light this thing up, see what it looks like. So we've got the cooler lighting up, so that's one good sign. Now let's make sure everything fires up. And looks like we're pretty good to go here. So what I'm gonna do is here, after this thing boots up, I'm gonna let you hear the sound of it as well. to let you know how it sounds idle and then at full load as well. Alright guys, so we're gonna fire up real temp and show you how this thing's performing. I'll pull up CPU-Z as well so you can see some of the statistics around the cooler and my configuration here on the 6800K. So as you can see with CPU-Z, we're showing the stock speeds of 3.7 or 3.8 basically with the 6800K. We're running a stock core voltage of 1.274 and everything's good right now. So let's see here. We're going to pull up hardware info 64 and show you what some of the temps are like. I'm not going to check our fan curves here and make sure that everything is in good shape there as well. I use the ASUS Dual Intelligent Processor 5. This is an ASUS software for my motherboard. Your motherboard may have its own set of software in order to control a lot of this, but I'm going to go into Fan Expert, and we're going to crank these things up to turbo speed. We can do full speed, which as you can see cranks them all the way up, and you might have just heard my fans kick up a little bit. We're going to turn this back down to turbo mode and see how well it does. Alright, here, so we're cooled down to a pretty cool temp. I'm going to go ahead and reset min-max averages for the hardware info 64. I've already done that for real temp here, and we're going to jump into a game I like to play that is a little bit more CPU intensive. All right, so we're going to jump into GTA 5 and see how this thing works. And I don't have my graphics card overclocked. It is a GTX 1070. It's the EVGA For the Win Edition 2. It's not the latest For the Win 3, but it does quite well for me. So I'm just going to jump into a story mode here, and we're going to play along with this for 10 or 15 minutes and see how it behaves. I'll do a quick showing of IDA64 at the very end of this video, but I want to show you more realistic what happens with this cooler in a game and see how well it behaves here. Yeah, I'm a bad driver. We all know this. Much better of a driver with the controller though, that's for sure. Alright, so we're running around, we're saying we're at 29 frames per second frame rate. We're around 68. That frame rate doesn't seem right. I know this game runs more around the 140 some frames a second typically, so we're not gauging that score right now. Let's see here, but we are gauging the CPU temps, so let's pay attention to that. So it looks like we're running around 52C, which is actually pretty darn good. We're staying very, not climbing a lot. We're staying in very good ranges. I'm also not showing you the overclocked temps right at the moment. This is stock CPU. I just wanted to show you that so you could understand what you're going to get from a very more, I guess, realistic mode here. So we're still running around 53C, so we're doing pretty good. Like I said, I'll show you some overclock temps maybe in a later video, but I just wanted to give you more realistic looks into that. Your overclock temps aren't, I don't necessarily like to show those too much because every CPU is different, and I want you to know what you're most likely going to get at stock. Most of the CPUs at stock perform very similar within certain range limitations, but when you start talking about overclock, a lot of times it just depends on how well you win the CPU lottery or silicon lottery, and you know, how well your CPU overclocks. Alright, so we're gonna jump out here and take a look at what some of our scores are. So right now you can see our max temps were 57C here in our hardware info 64. Our average highest was 49, so it's pretty darn good. Real temp here looks like we had mostly about the same, so I'm showing you these as a comparison so you can kind of understand what's going on here, and make sure I'm not, you know, if you're biased more toward one versus another monitoring software. This kind of gives you a range to work from and understand here. So as you can see, we've done quite well, and it isn't too bad at all. Alright guys, so I want to pull up Cam as well here and show you a couple details about that as well. This Cryorig cooler works on my Asus motherboard. It plugs into the RGB header on the motherboard, so it allows me to set settings such as my color modes. So you have the chance to work with your underglow LED, which is the bottom side next to the CPU. That I have currently on a breathing mode, which is synchronized with an LED strip I have plugged into the RGB header as well. So my motherboard and all those lights are syncing together for the most part, and doing quite well. That's about all it controls on here. It doesn't allow you to control the fan curves or any of that. On my NZXT Kraken X61, that's something that is available within the software. This plugs into my Asus motherboard, but it's not directly into the RGB fan header, or RGB header, so it doesn't actually synchronize with your software. But what I found is the speed in which the breathing mode works, you can get it very, very close. It's slightly off, but it's okay. This actually plugs into a USB header, which is why you get the Cam software usability here. So I'm just gonna jump out, and we're good to go. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Give me a like and a thumbs up if you like this video and want to see more of this. So please, I appreciate all of you guys watching today, but until next time, we will catch you on the next video.